A new week has started after the Easter break. So today is Tuesday. I just had year 10 and the ones who are working are progressing well on their little nail box. There are a number of students who very, very hard to motivate. They're not a tiresome course in terms of me trying to be on top of them and dealing with behaviour, so that's a good thing. They all work pretty well when they do work. I have year 12, year 8 and year 11 later in the day. Right now I've got a period off, which I do believe I've got quite a bit of administration to catch up on from last week. And because we had a long weekend, basically lost 2 days of work in order to do stuff. So I'll go off and do that before I head into year 12. Year 8, done. It did not feel like the best lesson I've had. And not because it was disastrous, but because with the students being now at so many different points in the project, like some doing very well and scooting ahead, some still trying to catch up, and it's not through lack of ability, it's through lack of application. The kids slow down, they start talking, they don't work. Yeah, the kids who are moving ahead are looking for help, and I'm unable to provide that help when I'm trying to help the others who are falling behind. And then you've got some that are just being loud, and that's a distraction. And I know I could see the frustration in the faces of some of the kids who needed help. You could hear the frustration in their voices. Some of them wanted help with the drill because they just weren't too sure of themselves on it, especially because it's like I've set up this jig for drilling the hole in the same place of the flippers and the parts, and so they bring in their part not when it's shaped like this, but when it's square and they can hold it in there and drill it. I'm the person holding this down for them. For some are confident with it, they take it easy, the goes down, comes up, no problem. But some of the others need assistance. Again, this being the very first time we've done this project, I'm still getting my head around parts of it as well, and just staying a couple of steps ahead. I think just the frustration that I could see and hear in some of the students just made me feel frustrated for them as well. So I think I've got them, the next time I've got them is Thursday, so we'll have a chat, because we've had a chat before and the class was good, but it hasn't lasted. So we'll have another chat about just their demeanour in the workshop, their behaviour in the workshop, ways that they can help each other so that I'm not being strung out trying to help them all. It's lunchtime. So I just finished with year 11. Out of a class of 23, I've just been told one's been signed out of school. So out of a class of 22, I had 5. 2 of the boys, who also do hospitality, were apparently horsing around during their theory lesson up in one of our rooms, our textiles rooms. And the doors to our buildings have glass panels, and they're very old doors. One kid thought it'd be funny to close the door behind another kid or in front of another kid and hold it shut. The other kid apparently shoulder charged the door, pushing the glass whole panel out and having it drop on the ground, smashing. They were called for from the office. I think because of that, all of their mates didn't come to class either. I just had a small group of 5 kids who were up here, 3 of which actually started prac, so it was good. I've got to get some more of the timber cut up. But it was good to actually have them doing prac again. They'd all done their safety tests and were ready to go. And the other 2 out of the 5 still had some of their safety tests to do, so they were sitting on the laptops finishing those off. The deputy rang me to tell me about what was happening with these two boys, basically getting a formal warning, a formal caution. She said, there's only 5 minutes to the bell, so I won't send them back to class. I said, that's all right. None of the other kids showed up either. Anyway, end of a very busy day. I think tomorrow is a bit lighter in terms of classes, but I've got a lot of stuff to do, so pack up and go back to the staff room. Home early enough. Still enough daylight at the moment. Walking the boys. Wife's idea, but I think it's a good idea. Just walking up our street because we can get roughly 1 kilometre in round trip without having to take the really big hills. One of these every afternoon would probably be good for us. And if I can do them this week, because daylight savings ends next weekend, might be a good idea. Year 11's done. Getting some of them through those computer sections of the course, doing a lot of support and hand holding, because there's some that are still trying to catch up, and most of them were in the class today. The ones that could do prac didn't want to do it. It means that this course is continuing to making this course just drag on, and motivation sinks a bit. I know you'd get people who would say, well, just make the kids work. Well, they're just working slow. Well, put them on detention until it's done. Who's that disadvantaging? Me. They need to get it done. They've got the library where they could go and get on the computers and do that, but they don't. When they come in here, especially if it's the safety stuff they've got to complete, they can't start prac without it. All of the other stuff, I would gladly just say go and do it in your own time, but a lot of them need help. So I think I'd be classed as a worse teacher if I didn't give the kids the opportunity. Yes, it's slowing us down. I mean, the project they're going to do is just this. It won't take them long to do it. I mean, one of the kids who was doing prac yesterday, he got all those cut out yesterday because they used the drop saw. He even got some of the joints marked out and cut. So it's not going to take them long, or shouldn't. And the purpose of the project is just for me to observe them working safely. There's no official project, it's just something for them to work in the workshop, to work safely and demonstrate safety. So, with a week and a half to go, and next Monday's the white card course, which I'm pretty sure half of them haven't done anything about. I'll go back and see if I can see who's actually paid, but you can probably bet that the majority of the participants are not going to be kids from this course. Just finished with Year 12. We had our double this morning. Weather's not that great, but the biggest thing was that they need to get everything up to date on their Evidence Central and stuff, because I want them to get through as much as they can. And it's all about completing the task, completing the quizzes, providing the evidence. First time I've actually used this with my laptop plugged in. I had to find a few dongles to get everything connected because it's a newer Surface Pro, and it's only got USB-C, USB-Cs on it. So I had to have a dongle for the USB-A and one for the HDMI. But then the TV's touchscreen, so I can basically go through things as I would and show them where things have to go. And it's actually a good setup. I'm glad I got it. And it's the first time these guys have really used the laptops here. They like the idea of being able to be in here and get stuff done, get a bit of support with it. recess now, and I've got year 8, period 4. I'm going to try and do some planning stuff on the computers as well. We've had a bit of rain yesterday and all overnight, so this was nice and clear, full of water yesterday afternoon, but we've obviously had a lot more stirred it up. You can see that it's flowing down through the yard again, and what had dried up under the stairs is now absolutely flooded again. And I think this is meant to go for a couple more days, I think. You wouldn't think it was morning, would you? It's very dark and dreary with the rain, and we're probably in the thick of it with the clouds. Who knows whether this will be this heavy down low or down lower in the mountains or down in the Sydney Basin, but it's fairly dark up here. Everybody's got their lights on. I know daylight savings ends this weekend. That just makes it dark and, no, hang on. That makes it lighter in the morning, but I don't think it's going to be much lighter than this. But this rain just sort of started up yesterday and settled in, and it rained really heavy overnight, as you saw with all the water in the front ponds and down under the stairs. I saw that filling up last night when I was putting out the trash, and then this morning the area behind the laundry was also developing huge puddles. I have a college meeting this morning. All the TAS head teachers go to one of the campuses. We have our planning meeting for the year. It was meant to be a lot earlier in the term, and so I moved my white card course because it fell on the same day, and then they moved the meeting to today. Now the white card course is on Monday, so no clash there this time. And in terms of that white card course, I have, I think, 6 kids who have signed up for it. 2 are from the class, 3 are kids who were in the class, decided it was going to be a bit too difficult, but they still want the white card to be able to help them with finding work. Now that I think that back on that, I've got 7, because there are 2 from my year 10 class that are wanting to do it, and I know that there's another student or 2 that were interested in doing it in year 10. I have a whole stack of construction kids who need to do it, and I've emailed the note twice to their parents. I have given the kids the note twice in class. Lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Or as I've said, you can lead a student to the coursework, but you can't make them learn. You can provide as many learning opportunities as you can. You can provide as much assistance as possible. But if they just don't want to, or they aren't motivated enough to, they won't. That makes it really hard to teach a whole class, because you might have a handful, and sometimes even a fair proportion of the kids in your class who are like that. They just don't want to. They just don't want to learn, don't want to put in the effort to learn, but they don't know what else to do, so they're at school. I'm talking about seniors now, because once they hit 17, then it's a point of, you don't have to be at school, make a decision. Anyway, I do have a lot of the kids in the class that already have their white card because they've done the course in the past, so at least there will be some that can go out to work placement, providing that they're proving that they can do the right thing going into work placement. Because the last thing, myself and my hospitality teacher, there are some students that have just been unsafe in the kitchen or the workshop. They betray your trust as a teacher by damaging things, misbehaving. It's more damaging things, it's the annoying part. Or not following basic instructions. And if somebody's going to be, if they're going to be like that in your class, there's a section in the paperwork that the teacher has to sign to say, I declare that they are prepared to go out for work placement. I won't sign that. I won't send a kid out. Like, I won't give them the paperwork until they demonstrate that they're absolutely ready to go out. Because there's been a couple in the past where they've been all right with me, not the greatest, but they've been all right. And then when they've gone out, they would show up the first day and then wouldn't show up again. Or they would, and they wouldn't contact the employer either. And the employers, but they're trying to help the kids get into their industry. And once upon a time, I'd have employers telling me that our kids were good, and there was kids from other schools that were not showing up or were really lazy and that sort of thing. And now it's become a few kids from ours in the past that have done this. And one employer last year before, rang me and said, look, I was thinking of pulling out of the program because of some other schools, and I haven't had any trouble with kids from your school, and this kid has just blown it, and I feel like I'm wasting my time because it takes more effort and energy to take on an inexperienced work placement student, because it can slow down the job. And in industry, time is money. So he retracted his name from his business from work placement for the region. That was fairly disappointing. Year 11 work placements aren't until later next term, so they have a fair bit of time to improve and prove themselves. But right now, some of them who do both hospitality and construction won't be going out forever, because we do not want to have our school name smeared by it, and we don't want to see any more employers leave. We can't afford that, because it's hard enough finding employers now, and when subjects are becoming more popular, we can't get the placements to send them out. Currently, for the 20 students that I have on my roll, there's currently 3 placements. That's not going to cut it. That all started from me saying that this meeting clashed with my white coat book. Doesn't clash today. And apparently one of our campuses has a brand new TAS head teacher that I haven't met yet. I'm not sure if any of the others have met them yet. We'll welcome into the college family. I just finished with Year 12. We came in here again to work on the Evidence Central stuff on the laptops. There was one part of Task 3 that the kids seem to have lost their booklets, but they've got to upload information before I can sign it off. And I know we did it as a class, and I didn't realise that my smartboard saved stuff. So when we were working it out as a class, I was using this, and I had a second page, so they were able to recopy that. We all remember the lesson. I remember the lesson, and where they were sitting, and what we were doing when we were doing this, because that was, gosh, term 3 last year. But because I started doing a lot of stuff upstairs, the kids kept their books and a lot of them lost them. So they got that filled in. They can now photograph, upload. I can then sign that stuff off. And hopefully we can get on with finishing task 4 stuff and get into our bricklaying of task 5. But yeah, I like my little setup. Having to use all these little dongles is a bit of a pain because this device only has USB-C on it, and the 2 connections to be able to interact with the computer on the TV, you need the USB and you need the HDMI. It's good being able to use the space properly, and having a class like that, that's some of them are prepared to work and work well. Lunchtime. Yeah, another look at this. You might not be able to see, but I can. Like, just that little section right in the centre of the shop now, that's where those tadpoles were. And I can see some of the little ones just swimming around in there now. So they're enjoying a much larger swimming space. And when this gets really full, it just sort of flows down and into this section. So this part's been joined up with all of this. You can just see one of the big tadpoles there, and all of those sections are now joined up by that little concrete dam that I built around the edges. Unfortunately, that dam is not quite as high under the mondo grass here, which is why we have this little stream flowing out and down through the grass, which comes out here under the little retaining timber, flows down the hill, and is currently flowing down here and running straight off the bit of timber I had here from where that rock was, and it's filled up under the stairs completely. But you can also see that water is running down through this section, dripping down, and I think from this bottom corner it's flowing out, where you can see like a brick there, that's flowing out, and then down into that area at the back. It's just that we've had so much of it. I think this afternoon I'll come back and I'll see if I can get this siphon going again to drain this section since it's so full. Because while there's no water inside, because I've checked in the laundry, I really don't want to take the chance to look how full that's been. So it's come up to pipe level, and so it's drained out when it was really heavy. It's obviously going down our stormwater. It's ideal, I'm not sure. Anyway, I need to take my wife's car down to get its rego inspection, so see you later.